Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Welcome
Let's go.
back, traders. How are
I
we
wake
doing,
up to a
guys?
little
God
bit of drool on my
bless
pillow,
each and
feel
every
like it's
single
gonna be
one of you guys. Hope you're having a fantastic manic Monday, right? As you see volumes push in here, and you're seeing some crazy due diligence from Adam Aaron as well as Ryan Cohen. So we're going to cover all of that in today's video, covering AMC, GameStop, GME warrants, and the broader market. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, right, stay the full length of the video, and let's just jump straight into what has been our thesis for the last 6 months, traders. And this is what pertains to the meme basket as well, right? IWM trading at 300. Why is that important? IWM is your meme basket index, right? And our thesis has been always that you're going to hit 300, and that is going to lead to price discovery in this meme basket, right? AMC up, GME up, and IWM about to hit 300. So I just want to give ourselves a shout out as you break out of this falling, broadening wedge. You look to hit 300 for the first time ever, as 350 to 301 is that price target, guys. So some beautiful technical confluence. And speaking of beautiful, guys, AMC's CEO Adam Aaron saying it's official, right? Toy Story 5 had the biggest domestic opening weekend gross of any movie so far in 2026, with a media reported 160 million, right? Let's say that again. 160 million, traders. It's the seventh different movie in the past 3 months that has had a domestic opening above 75 million, which Toy Story 5 exceeded farly, right? For AMC in the US, we posted the highest attendance, highest ticket revenues, and highest food and beverage revenues of any weekend so far in 2026. This has just got me absolutely jacked, right? Seeing that AMC is continuing to see top line growth, and that the blockbuster hits, right? Toy Story, Marvel movies, and then some other small movies popping off are a huge deal when you look at the growth and recovery of the movie theaters. This is the biggest year since 2019, and I do truthfully believe you could see this year past 2019. If that happens, right, and you post anything that's close to profitability, you're going to see AMC shares rally like crazy as you continue to consolidate within this rising wedge. You've seen a breakout during the pre-market in which you came up to, I think it was 309, right? I don't know if this includes pre-market, but you came up to about 304, 309 here, and then shot back down. But you will have the answer within, traders, within the next couple of hours of what you're going to do. Couple, like 1 to 2 hours, of whether or not you're going to see a breakout or break down on this consolidation pattern. Now, why is that so bullish? It's what we talked about in our last video. You will see either this ascending level of support come in handy, and you're going to see a breakout to 318, which is, traders, that is your quarterly candle of December or January, right? That is your most recent high, 318. If you look at the top left of your screen, that was your high of this candle before seeing capitulation down to 93 cents. Now, if this one quarterly candle, traders, can engulf the previous three, what is this? The last 1, 2, 3, 4 closes, right? This one closed at 287. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes, traders, a year and a quarter, right? Take that in. Think about that for a second. If this one candle can surpass the volume, which you're only 200 million away from doing, so you're going to surpass the volume here, and engulf the last 5 quarterly closes, traders, and you're bearish, right? Just let that sink in. As you get the quarterly MACD cross, you are already up 190% on this quarter, the most since the previous January-June squeeze, right? And technically, the profit target from this is the full length of this falling wedge. Place that on top of the breakout, wherever you break out, right? And that's going to give you your technical profit target of about $140. Whether or not we get there, right, there's so many resistances along the way, but I cannot help but be jacked, excited, and crack a cold one with y'all while we do it, right? So if that's worth anything, subscribe, And let's get into some of the GameStop due diligence, because GameStop also doubling their position in eBay, which I find fascinating, further establishing that it is going to be going after a hostile takeover, right? I saw Fame. My man said, hostile takeover, let's get it, right? And I expect nothing more, nothing less from GameStop, that it's going to continue to consolidate eBay shares and deploy its cash on hand. It's really, really exciting stuff for the future of GameStop. And on the charts, you're starting to see some stuff develop. But first, we're going to talk about AMC. I want to make sure we go in structure here. AMC, GameStop, and then the GME warrants, right? So from AMC standpoint, you're seeing some pretty healthy volume on the 30-minute, but let's go to the daily time frame and let's look. Daily time frame, you're running a little bit of a spinning bearish top candle here, but I'm not worried, right? Those are often just continuation candles. And truthfully, as long as you close where you opened, about 290, which you're only 4 cents away, this is just a consolidation period. Now, the volume, particularly lower than the previous day. So if you close here red, also not worried, right? Because if you consolidate down on lowering volume, that is overall bullish to our convictions, right? 4-hour candle, you can see here, still you're trading within this rising wedge formation and a little bit overbought here, right? A little bit overbought on the 4-hour RSI. On the daily time frame, you are still trading within the greed zone or within the bull zone. And then on the weekly time frame, you are literally about to do it, right? Look at where you're at. Hopefully this doesn't develop into a rejection as our technical target, right? Our technical target here is to get into the bull zone on the weekly time frame for the first time since June or May of 2021, right? As you can see, AMC goes absolutely bananas, absolutely ballistic as soon as you get into this bull zone. It's shown here by 116% weekly candle, followed up by an 83% candle, and then followed here by 50% into a 277% candle. And you look nice, right? You look genuinely really, really good here, but you need to see this thing break out off of the good news that you received from over the weekend. I find it hard to believe that you reject the bull zone here, and you are so freaking close to doing something amazing, guys. Genuinely, it might not feel like it. You might feel like you're in the dirt, but I'm here to, if you guys can steal my confidence, right? Or I'm here to kind of just show you the charts, right? Even though the convictions or even though the feelings, intentionally or whether or not it's intentional, may feel like you're in the mud here, the market makers oftentimes make that the case before they absolutely send this thing much, much higher. You're in a point in which I think there's really no resistance from here upwards until 318. So for you not to hit 318, I just don't see it, right? Same thing with 250, right? We were saying that when you were down here by 232. It's very, very likely that you see that full extension into horizontal resistance. So until you get that, it's all just trading, right? It's all just noise in the freaking machine. So if you do swing up to 218 or 318, it's highly likely that you're going to get into the bull zone, right? For the first time since 2021 on the weekly RSI. That will lead to fireworks. That will lead to volume. That will lead to a breakout. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence, right? But if it's happened every single time, it's going to happen again, in my opinion. And of course, it would be an incomplete story if we did not look at the daily golden cross traders. The 50-day EMA only approximately, what is that? 15 cents away, guys. Come on. 15 cents away from doing something magnificent, seeing its first golden cross traders since all the way back, right? All the way back in February of 2021. Back here. You guys can see it very clearly. It happened during a squeeze in which you came back to retest the 50, which is a textbook golden cross retest, and then you spring from that retest, right? That happened on February 9th. You spring 166% before consolidating within this bullish pennant and then breaking out and seeing the June squeeze. You're in a very, very similar situation here. And a lot of people are not going to take me seriously when I say that, but I truthfully mean that you are the most bullish you have ever been on AMC since all the way back in 2021. I don't care, right? I do not care. I look at the charts. I look at the textbook breakout that you're doing here, right? This V-shape accumulation pattern, whatever you want to call it, right? This golden cross has only happened once to the upside in AMC's history, and it happened during risk on asset season, right? You have a very similar market structure in which the Fed is likely with Kevin Warsh to come in, even though they're pricing in potential rate hikes here. I believe that the Fed is going to begin printing money and that they're going to do the inverse because there's a very specific reason that my man Kevin is in there. It is to cut rates, traders. It is to funnel more money. So I expect risk on assets to outperform the broader market and continue to do so. And I think it's going to catch a lot of people off guard. I really, really, really do think that. And even if traders, like we talked about, even if you pull back here, you have significant resistance or support for the bulls with the 9-day currently trading at 246. You have your horizontal support that was previous resistance at 250, as well as, right, this uptrend that is very, very steep but has been very reliable that you would catch probably around that 250 to 245 area if you were to see a rug here, which hopefully you don't, right? But even if you do, traders, I am truthfully not worried about the long-term stability of this run up. You also look at the golden freaking cross, right? You have the 200-day EMA now trading at around 197 to 198, right? That is only going to continue to curl up here as you kind of stabilize above the 200. And this is the first time in the entire history of AMC, besides for 2020 and 2021, in which you have seen multiple daily and weekly closes above the 200-day EMA. As you can see here, stark rejection, right? This was your May, April squeeze when Roy and Kitty came back. This was your 2023, July. I think that was the AMC Ape court decision right there. Rejection off the 200, rejection off the 200, failure to hold above the 200, rejection off the 200, and then this was a loss after a breakdown from this bullish pennant back in 2021. A loss of the 200, rejection, and then from those rejections, right, you saw the low of 58% downside. You are now seeing something to the magnitude that is this, right? And as long as AMC stays above the 200-day EMA, traders, you should expect to see price stabilize, consolidate, and continue to outperform the rest of the market, in my opinion, right? I'm not a financial advisor, but that has been the trend, and that is a very, very likely possibility, in my opinion. To see the bearish volume so weak here at a rejection of $3, super bullish, right? You want to see this thing. You want to see this thing set fireworks and light some shorties, some bears on fire here. Getting above $3 is going to come with volume. So the fact that you're not seeing it off of this rejection, massively bullish, right? Massively bullish. On the weekly time frame, I remain very, very bullish as well, as you are starting the week on low volume, but your last 3 weeks came with significantly more volume, and you're about to get what is also one of the biggest crosses in the market, the 9 through the 50 on the weekly trading time frame, guys. This is what I call a short-term rocket thruster, right? Seeing this 9-day crossing up at such high velocity through the 50 is going to lead to a beautiful freaking move, guys. I'll go back for historical relevance just for you guys, right? We're the best AMC technical analysis channel out there, in my opinion, right? And we're going to go back to the last time you saw the 9 cross through the 50. Where was it, traders? It was right freaking here, right? So lagging indicator, but did come with a significant candle, down 10%, down 12%, down 16%. And from that cross down, right, you could say within a year, 77% to the downside. When did you see that cross up, right? You saw that cross up during the squeeze, so very similar to the golden cross. And you saw insane volatility, right? So from that cross, you could say within 50 days, 200%, and within 825 days, you saw 1,500% gainer, guys. In my opinion, this thing is going to go ballistic. When it happens, Lord knows, right? God knows. But I do believe that the best is yet to come on AMC. I'm very excited for the potential future higher price actions. And so the 1 hour on Webull shows it, that you had 304 was your high here. 304. Let's take a little peeky weeky back at our wedge here. So it looks like you're coming down off of this rising resistance here to retest the ascending level of support on AMC here. So expect to bounce at around 280. If you fail to hold, right, it's likely you come down here to potentially retest 250 to 260. 260 would be your profit target from that rising wedge, as that's the full width of the wedge, right? Let's say we break out or break down right here. 260 is the area to watch. I think that's what we got for AMC. Very, very bullish. Very excited. Now on GameStop, right? GameStop is doing something pretty significant as well. And this is very, very prevalent to AMC, because when you see GameStop run, oftentimes you see AMC run. What you're getting here on the local time frame is a pretty textbook, right? Pretty textbook. Inverted head and shoulders. Shoulder one, head, shoulder two. And so if you see a rally back to the neckline at around 2250, which I think is likely, your neckline is sitting right at this high, right at 2273. So if you break 2273, traders, there is the opportunity to see a little bit of fireworks on the local time frame. Now, I have been in the belief that GameStop continuing the trade here as a nothing burger, and that is because the market hates, more than fear, more than destruction, more than shorties, it hates indecision, and it hates lack of transparency. What you're getting from the GameStop administration here is a little bit of uncertainty, right? Will they be able to pull this hostile takeover off with eBay? I think until you see that decision, you continue to see some kind of consolidation. But this local time frame is giving me a little bit of hope that you may see a temporary or permanent rally in the $25 territory, because the neckline, the full profit target is your head to the neckline. Place that on top of the neckline breakout, and that is around $25, right? So doing that, it would be a tremendous thing for GameStop, because not only would you be above this down sloping resistance for the first time since back here, and we know that led to $34 in after hours, but also you would be above your 50 and your 200. So GameStop does this more than any stock I've seen in my entire life. It just does. You flirt with the golden cross more than any stock ever, right? Cross down, cross up, cross down, cross up, cross down. If you can finally get a true and a truly amazing golden cross, right? One in which you hold above consistently like AMC is doing, and you bounce off of and you see follow through from, you are going to see this thing exit 26. 26. Why 26, right? You zoom out here and you see 26 as your point of control. Above 26 leads to gap fills, it leads to price discovery, and it leads to candlesticks like this, traders. Up 10%, 5%, 6%, right? These very volatile pumps to the upside happen above 26. Look at the rejection here back in 2023. both times, right? Double top, or as my man Only in Paradise would say, the horns formation, right? This rejection brought you down in a very short time frame, right? 150 days, 57%. This one brought you down steep, as well as this rejection, this rejection, this rejection, this bounce off of, this rejection, right? You see so many different sellers step in at 26. So what happens above 26? Well, you have this gap at 28.40. You have this gap at 29.66, as well as this entire space in volume, right? This $30 to $40 gap, price will move very, very fast. Once you step into this price discovery zone, it is shown very clearly by this, right? And once you do pass above 26, I expect you to fill these gaps, see some hesitation in the early 30s, and then absolutely kick ass, right? I expect you to get right around this upsloping support or upsloping resistance that you've tapped now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're looking for your sixth touch of that. That would come right around the mid-40s. And truthfully, traders, I believe anything below $20 on GameStop, anything in the low 20s is amazing value for what this stock is becoming. When you look at the macro, right, you're not investing in today. You're investing in where Ryan Cohen believes he could take this freaking company. Looking at the weekly time frame, taking a little peeky weeky, as we like to do, looking at this bullish wedge or bullish pennant formation, the technical profit target, traders, from this is outrageous, right? Taking it from the low of 2024 to the top of this flag, and let's say you see a breakout of that inverted head and shoulders. Why is that so prevalent here? Is because the longer you trade beneath this downsloping resistance line, the easier it gets to break out, traders. And even if you see a pump in July 2026, getting above $25, traders, breaks you out. It breaks the doors open for GameStop to potentially see a macro move on this thing of upwards, we're cooked, of $110, right? And we know there's a couple different resistances along the way, but the bigger picture here is you still have so much to watch for. You have a daily gap at $72 that we've covered many, many times. A daily gap at $72 left, June of 2021. Right here, right? What does GameStop love to do more than anything? It loves to fill gaps. It freaking loves to fill its gaps. Not only do you have that gap, traders, but you have a stock that is now printed 7 beats on earnings. A stock that has completely rechanged, 180'd its profitability, cut its costs, and now it is literally just raking in cash by the boatload. And if you're able to pull off this eBay acquisition, you would have a company that could potentially, if done right, rival companies like Amazon. And I know that's the big belief that Ryan Cohen has. I freaking love it for him if he's able to pull it off. And I think this is a very deep value play for GameStop for Jimmy Boy. But beyond that, right, we're going to cover the Jimmy warrants. Those go into exercise, I believe it's October 31st. They go into effect. So I'm interested to see how that plays out with the current price on the Jimmy warrants. But I wanted to, before we get into that, I'll plug my free Discord because it's not going to be free forever. I just genuinely jump in there to have a good time, to talk with you guys, to talk with the community, and to share my thoughts and opinions on stocks, crypto, and charts, right? So if you guys want a free space to communicate with me, Discord's it right now. It's going to go to membership within the month, I would say, just because I hate the bots that jump in there. I want to make it a little bit more streamlined. And of course, I want to be able to support me doing this longer and more often. So if you guys are interested, jump in there before it becomes not free, right? GME, a little bit of a falling wedge on the 30-minute time frame here, and you've created a little bit of bullish divergence, seeing lower lows but equal lows on the 30-minute RSI. That is bullish. You're starting to see a test of that upper threshold of resistance here, as well as, right, you're kind of forming out this right shoulder here. And if you break out of this falling wedge, you're breaking out to the neckline of 22.75 on the local time frame. So I expect to break out here. If you don't, you're probably going to rug all the way down to this local gap fill at 2094 on the stock, right? And that is the bottom channel of this support wedge flag, whatever you want to call this thing. That is the bottom channel in which you can expect to see this bounce. Great opportunity on GameStop. So even if you don't break out here, traders, you are looking at a much better opportunity to accumulate shares and to accumulate options. I'm not a financial advisor. Do what you want to do, right? Beyond that, though, traders, you have the GME warrants trading within this falling consolidation pattern and revisiting the lows that you haven't seen since November of 2025. Now, once you see these lows, right, you see some pretty nice horizontal price action, just taking us back, right? From this dip, you saw a 25 into a 12% rally. And from the low to the wick, you saw a freaking 72% jump. So expect some volatility here, expect some reaction. And if you don't get that reaction, it's much, much more likely that you see a full extension all the way down to 225 to retest the all-time low on the GME warrants. One thing is for sure, the volume is coming down here. We love to look at the volume profile. So even as you make these 6%, 9%, 2% candles down, your volume is diminishing, traders. That is a bullish sign to potentially strike along here and see these kinds of rallies, right? You could very well rally into this downsloping resistance, and it kind of lines up with this upsloping support to test it right around early July, right? So whether or not that happens, God knows, right? But this is a serious opportunity if you're looking to average down on some GME warrant shares. Do be warned, though, you have the 9-day weekly EMA crossing through the 200 very, very soon, which oftentimes leads to downsloping price action, right? So just be careful. Both of those currently trading around $3. So even if you see a short-term rally, you could see some rejection or some resistance at $3. Beyond that, guys, I just wanted to say, I hope you guys are having a fantastic freaking day. GameStop rallying, AMC rallying. Well, GameStop's down 0.3%, but I do believe you will be rallying soon. And we're just here chilling, covering some technical analysis on AMC and GameStop. So if you guys enjoyed, slap the subscribe button. We're now past 2,000 freaking subscribers. I could not be more grateful for all y'all. As we always say, God bless you and your families, and make sure, traders, if you take away anything, take away this. The best is yet to come. God bless and peace. Woo.